welcome back. Today I am doing a reading vlog for Babel, or The Necessity of Violence, an Arcane History of the Oxford Translators Revolution by R.F. Kuang, her latest book. I pretty much wanted to do a reading vlog for this because, well, this book is literally my #1 book for the entire year. Like, I've been waiting for this book for months, since late last year when I just saw the title. I only got a brief mention of like what the book would be about, and that's what this reading vlog's for, is for me to just catalog my progress and what my thoughts on reading it. What today is September 5th, Labor Day, and I started reading it on Saturday, so actually it's been 2 days that I started reading it. I'm on chapter 3. Like, I just started chapter 3. Oh yes, I took out the dust jacket for the US edition because I don't like reading a hardcover physically, and then the dust jacket sleeve just keeps coming off on the edge here, so yeah. So this is what it looks like naked, basically, and it's gonna look like this throughout the vlog until I'm done with it. But oh yeah, and also this is signed. Yep, it's signed by Madame Kuang, and I am also annotating this as well. So I have a key. I have my key here on what the tabs and the highlights mean, so that I can remind myself, like, this is what this tab means and that when I go back and look it over and things. And I'm not totally sure if this vlog should be spoiler free or not, especially regarding just, yeah, that's a good question. You know, that's another thing I just realized. I'm like, wait, should this be spoiler free or should I talk with spoilers? I just kind of want to talk about my progress and that I'm literally on chapter 3, and just to show the progression of tabs, you can kind of see there are a lot of tabs for only reading 2 chapters. Oh, and also there's an author's note at the beginning. We do start off with the author's note, which I've already been annotating on. I've already been highlighting and things and underlining. Oh, and I want to show you all the map. Let's see, make sure you can see it. Yep, there you go. There's Oxford right there. And then there is a map for Babel itself, or the Royal Institute of Translation, as the book calls it. Okay. I just want to show all that. And that also another thing too, while reading this book, is that this book is really heavy on historical part of it, because this is a historical fantasy novel. It's a standalone, thankfully, so I don't have to worry about being a series. No, this is just this one book. You get the book, that's the story, that's it. But one thing I'm starting to realize is that it's really more on the historical side than it is on the fantasy side. Like, I think it's more of like the speculative fiction kind of fantasy. Like, there's fantastical elements because there's magic working with the silver working, and like how that all works and stuff. Like the use of actually translation to use this magical bar called silver makes it like more like works with the fantastical things. So that's what makes it fantasy, but it's more on historical stuff because there's a lot of references to what happens in history, especially with translation itself. And actually I do have several tabs actually where we get to see silver working in action and guarding translation. So that's one thing to know for sure, is that there's a lot of things going historically that I like to keep track of, whether that's with like maybe books and authors or anything majorly historical happens, because the book itself takes place in, what year is it? I think it's 1828 or 1830, somewhere around there. So the late 1820s to the early 1830s basically is where the book starts off with and stuff. And we have the characters. So right now with characters, we have Robin, who we first meet him as, like, I think he's 8. He's either 8 or 6. And then towards the end of chapter 2, I think he's like 17 by now. Yeah, so he's about to, actually, I literally just got to the part actually where he starts to make his voyage to Oxford to attend Oxford University, so that he can go to Babel and start, so that he can pretty much be a translator basically and be a silver worker, you know, working with all the magic and things. And then we have the Professor Richard Lovell, who is his guardian. And I say this because Professor Lovell actually finds Robin as a child actually in Canton, China, and he brings him over to London, England, so that he can learn Latin, Greek, and Mandarin, and like ways of translation in the language and the syntax and the linguistics of these languages in order for him to eventually be a translator in Babel. And also, I do not like Professor Lavelle. Actually, I don't think he's actually not. He's not really meant to be like a likable character. I'm starting to realize. I'm like, wait, are we supposed to like this guy? No, we're not supposed to like this guy. Just as a basis. And they have Mrs. Piper, who's like a person that she's Scottish, and she's kind of like I want to say she's a caretaker, but she's pretty much the person that like makes the meals and stuff for the professor and Robin. And the first 2 chapters is basically just Robin's journey from Canton to London and his studies and translating and his early years relationship with the professor before he gets to Oxford, which I'm like, okay, that's cool. All right. And I'm just tabbing so many things. So like I have like character moments. I have things that made me like mad or sad or something. And it's a few plot relevant things that I think will be very important for later on the plot. I have so many I have a lot of tabs regarding translation and like and there's also a couple tabs for silver actually being used as a magic, like the magic of silver. And I also created another tab color for anything that happens within history, were there any historical references, any books, any authors, any ideas regarding the time period that this is taking place in. So yeah, I am definitely really looking forward to continue reading this book. I don't know exactly how long it will take me to read. My plan is to finish this book by the end of September. I mean, I'm only 5 days in out of 30, so 1/6 of the way of the month, then I'm only on chapter 3. Okay, well, we'll see what happens next. All right, hello. I just want to come in here and talk about Babel, and I want to talk about pretty much the first 4 chapters since I finished book 1. So book 1 is 90 pages, and it's from chapters 1 through 4. So that's book 1. So I was reading this book earlier this morning, and I finished chapter 4. So right now I'm just going to talk spoiler free, so no spoilers right now. No spoilers. All right. And I just want to say that this book really is giving, like, I know this book is historical fantasy, but like it kind of gives, I don't know how to explain it, but like it really just gives me like this kind of textbook, I don't know. Wait, would it be textbooky? I don't know. I don't think it's really textbook-y, but it's giving me the vibe of a textbook in the sense that I'm learning something new just about every single page, whether it's about silverworking, London, more about the characters and stuff like that, even just some historical references regarding what's going on at the time of Oxford in the year of 1828 or 1830 or anything like that. So it was textbooky in that kind of way, but not in a bad way where you feel like you're being forced to read it. Like, this is actually like important stuff where it gives you like a good historical context as to what's going on in the world of Babel and Oxford during this time period. So yes, even though this is fantasy, this is a fantastical version of Oxford, but there are still so many realistic, real life things going on relating to what's going on in the book itself, regarding like what's going on with London and England, and what's going on with translation and linguistics and the pursuit of obtaining knowledge, and how these characters will learn how to basically translate these languages, and whether it's from French to English, Italian. Actually, no, I don't think as far as right now, actually, no one's speaking Italian, but I just made that one up. But there are people who speak French, German. Of course, we have Latin and Greek, and English, obviously. We have Mandarin. We have someone who can speak Tamil. We have someone who speaks, me trying to remember all these damn languages that these people are speaking. Oh my gosh, so many languages. And a bunch more that I don't even know of right now. But, yeah. And right now, since I finished book 1, we've finally met the entire cohort. So, of course, we have Robin, our protagonist. Then we have Rami. And then we met Victoire and Letty. I definitely love this main cohort so far. I'm not totally sure though how I feel about Letty. Just a small bit. I'm like, I don't know, small things, but I'm not totally sure how I feel about Letty. But like, I'm still warming up to her. Victoire, I'm starting to relate to her. I really love Rami. He is so fucking hilarious. And then Robin, poor Robin, such a sweet boy. Yeah, but I'm definitely liking the cohort. I like the way that how they interact with each other. Like, their interactions is literally the best part of this entire 4. Is, like, how they interact with each other. Like, with Robin with Rami, or Rami with Letty, or even Letty with Victoire. Like, come on. Like, that's literally, like, the best parts right here. Especially since they've all been pretty much raised to be very... They've been raised in very, isolated environments, reserved environments, where they have no choice but to solely focus on their education and learn how to translate and learn these languages and the linguistics of those languages in order to translate so that they can succeed in Babel. So, you know, with that kind of environment at such a young age, you don't really get a chance to make friends, especially if you never really thought of making friends. So when they actually meet for the very first time, it just feels so freeing. And one thing I did not know is that this cohort is literally just the 4 of them. For the Royal Institute of Translation, or Babel, there's only 4 people. There's only 4 new ones. They're literally the newest members into the society. So, yeah, it's actually kind of like interesting just to see them all meet together and trying to absorb the tower. Where there's even a whole section in chapter 4 where we actually get to get description of each floor of the tower. Yeah, we actually get to see where every single floor here, from the very first floor all the way to the silver working floor, which is at the top one. Yeah. Okay, so that's all the things I can think of for book 1 of Babel. I will continue to keep tabbing it, as you can tell. I have a lot of tabs, and I will continue to make a lot of tabs. I know it doesn't seem a lot right now, but trust me, when this book is done, tab full, baby. Annotated and everything. And I love annotating this for sure. I mean, I think it would be really cool though, just to like to actually listen to the audiobook. Because I truly believe this would be really also beneficial. Even if you don't have a physical copy, I think it would be really beneficial actually to have the audiobook. That way you can like hear the voices of the characters. And also there's 2 narrators. One for like the main text, and there's another narrator who narrates the footnotes. That way, you know, when you listen to the audio, you can tell which ones are what parts of the text is text, the main text, and what parts it's footnotes. Which I think is actually really helpful, actually, to differentiate between the 2. But yeah, I'm definitely going to keep going. I know it's September 9th, so I'm trying to figure out a way to pace myself with this book. So, book 2, I think, does not end until... Okay, there's book 3. So, book 3 starts with chapter 13. So, from chapter 5 and chapter 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I have to read about 8 chapters or 9 chapters to finish book 2 and get to book 3. And that's where I will make my updates. Unless something like big happens in book 2 that I have to like say my thoughts right now. But right now, that's pretty much all my thoughts. But anyways, thank you. I will come back again when I have another update.
We're good. All right. Hello. Today is October 5th. I'm going to do another reading update for Babel now. I finally finished book 2. So as you can tell, I'm on book 3 in the book. And this section, so book 2 of the book consists of chapters 5 through 12. So there's 7 chapters in this book. And it is, okay, so pretty much a lot has happened, even though, technically speaking, it is a shorter amount of time, because in book 1, sure, it was 4 chapters long, but we went through pretty much Robin's childhood, all the way from literally when he was like, I think he was like 6 or 7, and then and it's like 10 years later when he goes to Oxford. So that's like a 10-year jump right there, and like 4 chapters. Here, I think we're in about 2 years, 2.5, give or take. So yeah, book 2 consists of Robert and the cohorts, first, second, and the start of their 3rd year at Oxford as students. We do get a little bit more interactions with the cohort and stuff, and we also get to know more about silverworking, like how silverworking works, translation. We had a whole thing on academia like that. We really dive deep into the actual academia of it all, but then we also get more historical context regarding not just the academia world, but also what's going on in the world around in England during this time period. And we definitely get to see the effects of colonization and pretty much just how, like, legitimately Robin, Rami, and Victoire were literally forced out of their homelands to go to a European country. They can study and learn pretty much their homeland's languages. Like, think about it. Like, Robin was born in China, in Canton, China, but then he was taken out of there to go to England so that he can study Mandarin and, of course, Latin and Greek, but all of them learn Latin and Greek, but he gets to learn Mandarin, like this linguistics of it all, and really like study the language, even though theoretically he could have just done that in his own homeland. You know, same thing with Rami. He's from India, and then he studied, let's see, what did he study? I think Urdu, Sanskrit, and Arabic. But I'm like, he could have learned all this stuff in India. Victoire, she learns Haitian Creole and French. Even though, like, again, she's from Haiti. She could have just learned all this stuff in their homelands. Letty, she's born and raised English. So yeah, book 2 definitely dives deep into the effects of colonization around the world and how silverworking has maybe progressed England, but then to the detriment of other countries around the world that don't get to use silver. Like, in this world, England is the most powerful, wealthiest nation in the world because of their use of silver. They're the only nation, at least in this world, where they can use silver in any place at any time. Like, there's silver use in gardens and carriage riding and some factories, but do you see that in any other place in the world? No, it's only in England, around Oxford. I'm like, bruh. So again, we dive deep in that for sure. And we also get to see how this affects the other characters. Not too much, honestly, with Rami, Victoire, and Letty, which is actually something I'm not really enjoying about the book. As much as I really do like this book, I'm not really liking the fact that this book is pretty much in Robin's perspective, in his worldview. Even though it's not in first person, this book is written in third person, but it's obviously that we're looking through the lens with Robin's eyes. And it kind of makes me feel a little detached with Rami, Victoire, and Letty specifically. I mean, we do actually get some dialogue with them and stuff, so it's not like I'm completely detached from them. But it's feel like we have this weird distance. And also with the writing style is that some things we are shown of, you know, their interactions and how close they are. But most times we are told these things, which I think is just something that R.F. Kuang has to probably grapple with, because this is a standalone historical fantasy. And it's not like with the Poppy Word trilogy, where she has 3 books to have these interactions with these characters, with all the characters within that book and stuff, and dive deep in their relationships and stuff. But here, maybe, and also this book is, how long is this book? I think it's close to 550 pages, give or take. Yeah, closer to 550 pages. So it is a lot of pages. It is kind of a big. It is technically a big book, but I do have the sense of feeling that she had to figure out to balance of writing character interactions and in the focus of colonization, imperialism, and, you know, linguistics and silverworking, to balance all that with the character interactions. And of course, you don't want this book to be too long, because, to be honest, if we had more character interactions, then this book would be a lot longer. And, you know, I mean, as much as I like a big book fantasy, I also like a book that's not only, especially if it's a standalone, to not be too long, you know? I mean, I know for some people, 500 pages is a lot of pages. It's a lot for them to read. But for me, somewhere around the 500, 600 mark is okay, especially if it's a standalone. Because if it's a series, I'm like, But yeah, that's another thing I'm not really particularly loving about this book is how I'm not gaining much perspective with like Rami, Victoire, and Letty. Like, I want more interactions with them, with Robin, and even just their own solo perspectives. Especially with going with Victoria and Rami for sure, because it's not like they're flat. They definitely have personality. It's just that I really am curious about how their upbringing was as well, with having guardians being literally removed from their own homelands and having guardians and that relationship, because I already know more about what Robin and Professor Lavelle. Those two, yeah, I know about that one from like book 1. So I'm really curious with Rami and Victoria, their guardians and their relationship. Is it similar? Is it different? Is it worse? Is it better than with Robin's perspective? I don't know. Maybe in book 3, book 4, book 5, maybe we'll get to that, if at all. I'm just gonna wait for that. And Letty, okay, so Letty. At first, I was okay with her. I was like, okay, all right, you're fine. She's literally like the only fully white person here, so I was like, okay. But then later on, towards the end of book 2, though, she was really starting to get into my damn nerves. Like, I'm here writing, what did I write in the margins? Hold up, let me find it. Again, I'm not spoiling things, but you know, if you've been reading along with me, I think you'll know what I'm talking about. I mean, let me just find the page. Oh, there we go. I wrote, okay, I found it now. I said, this is on page 102. So this is towards the end of chapter 11. I was like, because Letty says something to Victoire, and I was just like, okay, listen here, you little bitch. What you're not going to do is, because what she said, I was like, oh, so you out here. Okay. And she didn't even let it go. This little bitch. I was like, this little bitch. I'm like, whoo. And then the next page, I was like, Letitia, you about to get cut. Because what you not going to, I swear, she got on my damn nerves. I was like, look, I was fine with you. You're not like my absolute favorite, but like, I was fine with you. Now you just want to get on my damn nerves. And then it's like she continues to get worse. Not worse in the sense of like, this is terrible writing, but worse in the sense like, oh my gosh, I'm starting to not like this bitch. What the hell? Like, she asks a question in like 201, on page 201, about a character, like, just about specifically this one character. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Why are we talking about this? Me being like, oh man, should I say it? I don't know. Okay, let me just say my overall thoughts for that chapter, because ooh, I was going through it. What did I say? Letty was getting on my damn nerves. The air within the cohort shifted, hoping for at least one chapter in Rami or Victoria's POVs. And well, I don't think this is necessarily a spoiler, but just to let you know that an institution that's been founded on the pawns of the backs and breaks of colonization and dominance over other countries, especially regarding their languages. Do you think it's an institution that will actually genuinely care about their students? Because if you really think so, then I'm gonna have to be real upfront with you. They do not care. Not even just in book, but let's just really be honest. They really don't even care, even in real life. Or if they do, it's very specific people. But even in here, no. Like, I'm not that surprised that Babel sees the students as expendable. That's another thing, too, that the book 2 really shows that, yeah, as much as Babel seems like a paradise for Robin, and it eventually felt like a prison, not only because of the added workload and coursework, but also because of the fact that there's a lot more civil unrest with, like, people regarding, like, how they're starting to lose their jobs because silver working is being used in other things that it's like, well, we have silver working. Why not do we need laborers for this one job? And people were literally laid off. Thousands of people were laid off, and they were homeless and had to find jobs now. And it's like, yeah, of course, something like that is, as a revolution as it is, it doesn't really benefit everyone, you know, especially for those who really need those jobs. So it's like, well, and it's not like there's new jobs for them to do. Those jobs never showed up for them. So it's like, well, what are they supposed to do now? And as far as going back to the point of the students being expendable, like, if a student can't, or is no longer succeeding in Babel, or if they cannot continue with the coursework, or if they also can't just, you know, if something happens to them, if they're going on a trip somewhere and they get lost, whatever, Babel doesn't care. It's like, well, it's too bad for them. We'll just have to find someone else to replace them. It's like, wow. I mean, wow, not in the sense I'm surprised, but it's like, damn, y'all really, really don't care. Like, They were brutal, especially for the students that fail. They were brutal. Okay, they're brutal. So tread with caution with this book, okay? But anyways, that's honestly my general thoughts for book 2. I will definitely get to all my very, very, very spoilery thoughts towards the end of this vlog because, again, I want people to read this book. I want people to see that this is the book for them. And if it's not for them, then they can stay away from this book and not give negative reviews. So I'm looking forward to what we have for book 3. So book 3, I don't know. I think... So book 3 is from chapters 13. Ah, there it is. Book 4. So book 4 starts with chapter 19. So chapter 13 to chapter 18. So book 3 is 5 chapters. So it's about this thick. Okay, not too long. Again, though, it took me a long time, though, just to read from book 1 to book 2. So what do I know? But, you know, hopefully the next time I make an update is when I get to book 4. I don't know how long that's going to be. I mean, we're already in the start of October. I'm going to wait and see how long this takes for me to read this book. I'm already over a month. I think, wait, has it actually been exactly a month? It has been. I remember I started this vlog in September 5th. It was Labor Day, and now it's October 5th. It's been exactly 1 month. And now I'm actually doing another solid reading update. Wow. Anyways, so that's what I have for this update. And I will catch you all, hopefully, in my next one. Okay, hello, hi. Today is October 15th. So I just want to do this. I don't know if this is necessarily going to be a quick reading update, but I just want to say that, okay, I just want to say that I finally finished book 3 of Babel. So I'm on to book 4. And y'all, when I tell you, all the problems I was having a little bit with book 2, I wouldn't say they're necessarily resolved, but at least there's some things that were improved upon in book 3. And I'm like, okay, finally. And I'm starting to understand that, like, okay, so book 2 was pretty much like our slower pace section where we're slowly starting to, like, we're fed information about our magic system and translation and the knowledge of entomology and language and linguistics. So I'm like, okay. So book 2 is all about that. And then book 3, we get way heavy on the influences of colonialism and see how colonialism has been pretty much impacted all of the society of England and just the British Empire and just also the entire world, basically. So we get way more into depth with that one in book 3. And something happens in the end of book 3. And I'm just like, okay, when I tell you I knew shit was about to hit the fan, like I knew shit was going to be hitting the fan. However, I did not know that it was going to happen in that way, all right? Like, no warning. I was like, wait a minute, that's what's going to happen? Like, okay. I think this is kind of leaning to spoilers, but it's like very light. Okay, this is a very, very light spoiler, okay? But let me just say this. This book wouldn't be called Dark Academia if it didn't at least have murder. I mean, when you really think about Dark Academia books, there's always a murder. Always. This one had a murder. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. I can't say who, how, when, why. I can't say nothing. But characters are going through it. And we get a little bit more depth with, like, Rami, because we actually do get a POV in. We do get Rami's POV, but it's an interlude, and it's only like 6 pages long, which I'm not that happy about, but I'm glad we at least got something from Rami's perspective. And it definitely helped with Rami. And there's also a little bit of a character conflict between, like, Robin and, like, Rami, Victoire, and Letty. So I really do appreciate that in that regard. Let's see. For my next reading update, I'll be reading book 4, and it's a book 5. So there's 5 books in this one book. So that's like 5 parts. So let's see. My next reading update then should be when I finish book 4. And then after that, I'll finish the book entirely. So yeah. We're almost there, y'all. Look at that. We're already more than halfway there. And then look at all my tabs. I'm already running out of colors. And I'm just like, damn, I gotta use a different color tabs now. Because I'm like, look at that. Look at all these tabs. I'm interacting. I'm tabbing. I'm highlighting. I'm underlining. Ooh, and that's another thing too. I'm starting to underline and like write notes in the margins with pen. Because beforehand, I was just using pencil. Now I'm using pen. I'm just like, you know what? It's my book. I do whatever I want. Let me write in pen. And I actually prefer to write in a pen now. Yeah, I think that would be all my thoughts for now that are spoiler free. And I'll let you know what happens with book 4. Okay, hi everyone. So I just want to do another reading update for Babel. And I just finished, no, not just finished, because right now it's in the morning. So today is, what's today? October 19th. Yes, it's a Wednesday. I finished this last night. I didn't actually finish the book. No, let me go back. Okay, I did not finish this book. As you can tell, I've done a lot of tabs, but we still have some section here. There's a little tiny section here of the book, because I finished reading book 4 last night. And I need to just preface this. I don't know if it's really a preface, but I just need to say that, oh my fucking god, what the fuck just happened in this book? I was like, wait a minute. What the fuck just happened? I'm trying to remember what I even wrote down, because in each part of like the book and stuff, if I finish like a book, like book 1, 2, 3, and 4, I like my thoughts on it, you know? Thoughts on what I just read. Honestly, there's so much thoughts in here about book 4 that are pretty much spoilery, so I can't even really talk about this again until I pretty much finish done with the book and I got all through my spoilery-free thoughts and I can get to spoilers. But right now, again, still can't get into spoilers. You know what? Let me just... So remember my last clip what I said basically that's kind of spoilerish, but also not too specific? Is that, you know, it ain't dark academia without murder? Well, guess what? We got another one. We have more than one murder in this book now. I mean, when you really think about the full title of the book, I mean, it is called Babel, or the Necessity of Violence. So, like, I shouldn't be too surprised about the murders, but, like, I'm just surprised in how these murders went down. Okay. And also, there's a fucking betrayal in this book, too. Which, again, shouldn't be too surprising. That's what happens in dark academia books, like, all the time. There's always a betrayal of some sort. But, like, this betrayal makes sense, but also doesn't make sense at the same time. Like, in the grand scheme of things, it makes sense that it was this particular character, but also it doesn't make sense because I wasn't sure on the thought process of this character and why this character truly thought it was okay to betray them. You know, I was like, I need to know your thought process. Did you really think this was okay? Like, did you truly believe this was okay? Did you really believe it? Because I don't think you were thinking things through. You did not think. I'm like, think, character, think. But, like, it also makes sense in the grand scheme of things why this particular character would betray them. It's like, look, you've been looking kind of shady throughout this book. You even get on my damn nerves. I just can't believe in book 3 there was a murder. And I was so glad this character died. But in book 4 there's a murder. And now I'm really sad that this character died. This other character, not the same one. Like, I'm talking about a different character now. If you've read this book, you know exactly who I'm talking about, too. I'm just like, Madame Kwong really just woke up and chose violence. Again, which is why I'm in my bonnet, because I literally just woke up and brushed my teeth. And I just came on the camera so I can talk about this book. Because I'm waking up and choosing violence, too. I'm like, you know what? If Madame Kwong is going to wake up and choose violence, I, too, should wake up and choose violence. Okay? Because, ooh, Jesus, yeah. At this point, book 5 is just going to be all about violence. We're finally getting to the part of the necessity of violence. The arcane history of the Oxford Translators Revolution. We're about to get to the revolution part, people. That's all I mean, I don't know else what to say about book 4 that are not spoilers. I don't know. I'm all over the place. I'm angry. I am mad. I am mostly just upset because I don't know what the fuck to do now. I'm just like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Also, look at how crazy my tabs are looking now. Like, you could tell in the beginning here, I was very consistent with my tab colors. And then you just see these other colors towards the end. You're just like, what the fuck happened? I've been tabbing this book too much. Look how many tabs I got left. I only have these 2 ones. More of a gray, and then this bluish gray. Well, actually, this was more like a tannish gray, and then this is just like a gray, I think. But that's it. That's all the tabs from my main. This is supposed to be like my tab and coloring system for this book. I mean, yeah, I have like other colored tabs and stuff, but like they're not of the same color scheme from this one. And I wanted to keep it with this one, but it is what it is. Now I gotta go back to my regular posted tabs with my regular annotating system. So the red tabs are anything important or anything foreshadowing with the plot. Orange tabs is character moments. Yellow tabs are emotional moments. Green tabs are world building. And then blue tabs are anything like quotes or diction. So pretty much anything regarding translation or silver making, I'm pretty much going to use the green tabs for. And then blue, I think it's just be like good quotes or maybe some history moments. I don't know. Orange will still be like strong character moments or just character moments in general. Yeah, I'll just let y'all know I've been annotating the hell out of this thing. I've been underlining. Sometimes I keep forgetting to just highlight certain things. I'm like, I could have just highlighted this instead of underlining this, but whatever. I keep writing in the margins. Sometimes I do forget to like tab things, so that's why I have to go back to the chapter and then tab it. I'm like, I gotta go back. But anyways, that will have to be my updates for book 4. So pretty much the next time y'all will see me, at least as far as reading update goes, I should finish up the book. That would be my update. So yeah, next time I make a reading update, I'll pretty much be done with the book. I will start with the spoiler-free thoughts, and then I'll get down to full-on spoilers. Don't worry, I'll put some on the screen to show that, hey, we're talking about spoilers now. And then and then we can finally finish this vlog. Whew. Hopefully I can finish this book this week. That would be awesome if I can finish this book this week, because my audiobook haul for this book is literally due on the 23rd, and I'm just like, look, even though I haven't been fully relying on the audiobook, I do just like to listen to the audiobook, okay? Even if I already read the chapter physically, I just want to go back in the audiobook. But right now, the audiobook is caught up to where I am physically, so that's fine, But, yeah, I shall let y'all know what my thoughts are in the end of this book, and ratings, and, I'll give y'all all the rundown of what kind of book this is for you, alright? Cool.
I send the pestilence and plague into your house, into your bed, into your streams, into your streets, into your drink, into your bread, upon your cattle, on your sheep, upon your oxen, in your field, into your dreams, into your sleep, until you break, until you hear. I send the sword, I send the sword, thus saith the Lord. Once I called you brother. Once I thought the chance to make you laugh was all I ever wanted. I send the thunder from the sky, I send the fire raining down. And even now, I wish that God had chose another. Serving as your foe on his behalf is the last thing that I wanted. I send the hail of burning rice on every hill, on every town. This was my home. All this pain and devastation, how it tortures me inside. All the innocent who suffer from your stubbornness and pride. I send the locusts on the wind, such as the world has never seen, on every leaf, on every stalk, until there's nothing left of green. I send my scourge, I send my sword, thus saith the Lord. He called brother, why must you call down another blow? I send my scourge, I send my sword. So, is this what you wanted? I send the sword, I send the Then let my heart be hardened, and never mind how high the cost may grow. This will still be so. I will never let your people go. Thus saith the Lord. Thus saith the Lord. I will not let my people go.
Alright, hi, hello. Today is Wednesday, October 26th, and I'm finally going to wrap up this reading vlog of this book. Ooh, y'all, this book is as close to perfection for dark academia we're ever gonna get. Well, maybe not ever. Maybe there will be a better book, but as of right now, this is how you do dark academia, okay? This right here. This book, you see it? This book, this is how you do Dark Academia, okay? I fucking loved this book. In fact, I actually finished this book last Friday, and it took me this long to just even make this last update because I just had so many thoughts that like I had to figure out a way just to be very coherent and bring it all down because I didn't know. I just had so much to say. But as far as my spoiler-free thoughts, the only things I can say is that this is a fucking masterpiece. All my qualms, all my criticisms here, I've been pretty much, I won't say they've completely all gone or diminished, but I still have a couple. But like, they're very minimal to the fact that like, it just all makes sense in the end. You know? Like, I loved everything. I love the writing style. I really liked how Mana Kwong like wrote the characters for the most part. I like the world building. I like the magic system. One thing I should definitely want to make note of is that the fantasy elements in this book. Because as much as I love this book, I do know this is definitely not going to be the kind of fantasy book you're going to be looking for. Like, Babel really caters towards more of Dark Academia readers than I think your average fantasy reader. Like, if you're into high epic fantasy, you're not gonna get it in here. I'm sorry. The magic system here is not high fantasy. Like, it's still a fantastical version of Oxford, for sure, especially in the time period that it's in. But after watching a couple of some people's reading vlogs and an interview and some just other people's thoughts about this book, yeah, some people were disappointed, actually, in the fantastical elements. But I actually loved the fantastical elements. And I really love the fantastical, like the fantasy in the Poppy Board trilogy, but I really like the fantasy in here more. Mostly because I just think it's really cool to talk about language and translation and etymology, even though I personally am not that knowledgeable about it, but I truly believe I have at least some sort of a basic understanding of it, at least, thanks to this book. And I really liked how silverworking is very tied into translation, and how translation can actually be very magical and integral. And I didn't realize how integral language and words are into a world. Not even just in here, but also just even our own world. And I really like that. And I definitely loved the themes that this book portrays. And how it portrays these themes. And how it even challenges the reader to look at these themes. I just really loved everything about this book. Now, I say that, right? But again, I do have a couple qualms with it. One thing for sure is that it's kind of like really the characters. Now, I don't know this is just intentional I think this, for the most part, is intentional for Madame Kwong's genius, in the sense of, like, how this book is in one POV. It's in Robin's perspective. Now, I do think of this in a way that is just because I think a little bit of the reason why it's in his POV, because it's the kind of POV that Kwong will be comfortable in writing in, but I also think it's just to show how truly flawed he is. And since it's in his perspective, when it comes with the other characters, it kind of shows in how, not just shows like how flawed he is, but it also shows in how that even though he claims that, he's like a ride or die, like, they're friends, the closest friends like that, but he doesn't really know them as well. Like, he considers them as his friends, but he doesn't really know them. And I think that's purposeful in a sense of, especially since that he grew, and the way he grew up. Because he actually never really had any friends, but the one time he does, he feels like even just to even have people to interact with and talk about language and being a babbler, that's as close of a friendship as he's gonna need. But he never really wanted, and not even just with him, but also I think the other characters too, like Rami, Victoire, and Letty, they don't want to really talk about their differences, because if they talk about the differences between them, then it will break the illusion of Babel and Oxford, and how we see this place, and how the characters will see this place. Like, if they actually talk about the fact and how Rami, Victoire, and Robin have been forced out of their homelands to European countries in a way for them to either, for whether quote unquote survival, or for them to live in a better life, quote unquote, so they can study languages and just be in Babel, then that would definitely open up a much bigger can of worms. But not just because of just like because of colonialism and the racist implications, but also for the fact of just how traumatic that is. I don't think that's something they really would want to talk about, or even have, I want to say they won't have the vocabulary to talk about, but they won't have the emotional stamina to talk about. At least for Victoire, I don't think she had the emotional stamina to really talk about it. But at least for Rami, even, I feel like he would like to. But again, he had a facade for pretty much as a way to present himself that it was hard for him to even find a way to do that unless someone else would. But since no one wanted to breach up the topic, it was never gonna happen. Which is probably why my critiques about like how I was having a little bit of trouble with their believing their friendship. I think it was intentional in the fact that, yes, as much as they are very close and stuff, they want to hang on to each other. There are flaws within their friendship, especially regarding with Letty. Because, look, as a person of color, I think people of color in general have had this one white friend that they could be close to, but they're not that close to because of the fact that sometimes they be saying some really out-of-pocket things. You know? Like they try to be an ally, but then they keep saying the most just out-of-pocket shit, and you're just like, especially for Victoire, I felt so, oh my god, I felt so bad for Victoire, oh my gosh, I'm like, I can only imagine the kind of interaction she would have with Letty. Like, as I can definitely tell that Victoire and Letty were pretty close, for sure, because, you know, they were both women, and, you know, sexism is very rampant in here, it's very rampant, but I know for sure Letty would not want to, no, she will just not understand also the racist interactions along with Victoire too, along with the fact of just sexism as well, like, you know, misogyny war, specifically with Victoire. But like, damn, just thinking of how, like, I can only say thinking because again, this is in Robin's perspective, but I think that was intentional to show that how flawed Robin is especially with regarding, like I said, with the friendships and like how he doesn't really know them, which in turn makes it hard for the reader ourselves to really know these characters, which is why I am grateful that we do at least get one POV in each of the characters, even Letty's, especially in the time periods and when we do get their POVs. Like for Rami, we get his in like the 50% mark, like around halfway through. We get Letty's when we're about 80%, 75%, I think 80% in the book. Somewhere in there, we're like 3/4 into the book and we get her perspective, and then we have Victoire at the very end. And it's just, I think it's really intentional because there's no way I can really talk about this book without at least talking about these characters. Because again, I think if you've seen people's vlogs and reviews of this book, you already know about the themes that this book will portray. Colonialism, imperialism, the power of translation, how translation is also betrayal. Like again, that's like tagline of this book. An act of translation is always an act of betrayal. Because you're always going to be betraying like the original meaning of the words from one language to another, especially from one language to English, because that's the only kind of translations they ever do. They don't do English to another language. They always do one language to English. And it's very intentional to show that how they value English and how they value English people more than any other country in the world. But I really want to talk about the characters because, and I'm trying to be really quick about it because there's a lot to talk about, but also not too much to talk about either because again, I truly believe this is very intentional. I'm trying to figure out a way to make it make sense. But the way that we don't really know much about Rami, Victoire, and Letty until closer to, when we get closer and closer to the end of the book is truly because of the fact that, well, it's actually not just because of this, but it's for a few reasons. One, I mean, we were to get even more about them. It definitely would have made this book a lot longer, for sure. There's also, two, though, is that at least these characters they're not like flat. At least I don't consider them as flat. I mean, we don't know much about their backstory, but they at least have personality. Like every single time they're on screen, on the page at least, and if some dialogue and things, you know, it's there, you know? But also, I think the way that their friendship has been portrayed kind of reminds me sometimes of like how I interact with people. But then again, that's more of this is more of a personal thing. This is not even regarding with the book itself, but just like the way I understand how their friendship was formed kind of reminds me of like school, at least for myself. Cause like, I mean, for me, I always like that deep bond, but again, even in the book, it takes a long time to have that deep bond. You know, it takes years. You can't really be that close. They can't be like this, like that in like 4 years. It takes much longer than that. And I think the book really displays on how like there are pairings in this book that are much closer than the others, which is fine. But like, it's just interesting to see, like, with Robin and Rami. Especially with Rami. Because, y'all, I was really sad. I didn't cry. The entire time I was reading this book, I never cried. Which is... I always feel really weird about that. Like, I've read the entire Poppy War trilogy, and I haven't shed a tear. Even in chapter 23 of the Poppy War, I didn't shed a tear in that chapter. chapter 23 here, I didn't shed a tear. I was definitely sad. I was definitely angry. I was emotional, but I didn't shed a tear, which I always find that very weird for me. I don't know why I'm like that. But, like, again, with, like, Robin and Rami, I've always really liked their friendship. Again, I think that's because Robin has been the closest with Rami than, like, Letty and Victoire. And it's fine. I can definitely tell for Rami, too, that he definitely felt pretty close to Robin, too. I can just always tell that whenever those two are together, they just make sense. You know? It just makes sense. Even with Victoire and Letty, it also makes sense for them to be pretty close together. But there's definitely flaws regarding that friendship group. Like when Rami dying while actually being murdered by Letty because of their betrayal, but because of her betrayal. Which again, I shouldn't have been surprised that it was her. Like again, I think I said in that clip that it made sense that it was her. I was just upset about why the fuck did she really think that was okay to do, you know? Why you really thought, like she really thought in her interlude, because we actually start with book 5 with her interlude. And it made sense. Like it gave me some clarity as far as her reasoning, her process. But I'm just also like, but girl, you are still so in the wrong here. You are so wrong. But like, I kind of understand because she felt excluded because of the rest of the cohort, you know, about their race. But the only thing she has is the fact is because she's white. But she continues to not understand the severity of their races regarding how they're going to be treated in Babel and just around them. But also the fact that they have no choice but to really inflict violence in order to do change. Because again, she was talking about her interlude about how, you know, how about being a woman. But I'm just also like, but what about Victoire, who's a woman, but also a foreigner, who is black? Telling y'all, white privilege, white femininity, performative action, performative ally. It shouldn't have surprised me the way that Letty acted. It shouldn't have surprised me, but I mean, I wasn't like too shocked, but like I was still angry that it even happened. But you know, it all makes sense. I was just really upset too that it had to be Rami that died. Like, why Rami? And also, I really want to quickly talk about the ending. Like, I actually truly loved and how it ended with. I loved that this tower here and how they made it fall because they were victim the revolution. They got all the translators that wouldn't be on their side to stop Britain from enacting a war against China with opium. So I'm glad they actually decided to destroy the tower because, yeah, the tower had to go. But one thing, though, I think was actually pretty genius about it is, like, how Robin's character arc and how he pretty much commits suicide at the end, basically. Like, he goes down with the tower. Actually, a lot of translators that were still with him and Victoire. So, yeah, Victoire and Robin are the only ones who are left because Rami dead and Len betrayed them. And, like, how he couldn't go on. Because of not only because of his grief with Rami, but also the way that, because of Letty's betrayal, almost everyone in that society, actually just about everyone in society there, is dead. Anthony, a few other translators, Griffin is dead. They're all dead now. And it's like, for Robin, he couldn't find a way to keep going on. He couldn't figure out, he just couldn't. And honestly, that actually really reminded me of Rin. Like how, in the end of the Burning God, so yeah, this is some Burning God spoilers, so if you've never even read the Poppy War trilogy, mute me or something, I don't know. But like, in the end of the Burning God, Rin commits suicide because she couldn't bear the consequences and the aftermath of her actions anymore. She was just done. And it's the same thing with Robin. Like, he couldn't see a tomorrow. He didn't want to think of the after because what else is there for him? He couldn't keep going on. And he also felt this way because, again, I think really Rami's death really made him think, like, there's just nothing else for me. And Victoria's rightfully upset with him about that because it's like, damn, so you wouldn't even want to live. You just don't want to just survive. You just have to live. It's just one day at a time. That's all you got to do. One day at a time. And he just couldn't do it. He just still couldn't do it. And Victoria does ask, you don't want me to go down with you? And he's like, no. Well, he didn't actually say it, but you could tell in his face he doesn't want her to go down with him. Like, no, survive, live, keep going, you know? And I'm y'all don't understand, like, y'all, I am so grateful that Madame Kwong did not kill off Victoire too. I'm so glad she did not go down the tower with Robin. Because, That's actually my main critique that I'm still having difficulties with this book, is how underutilized Victoire was until like the last 100 pages, at least actively for Victoire. I mean, again, I've always loved Victoire. It's not like she was, again, she's not like has no personality. She has some personality for sure. It's just that I felt like she was really underutilized for majority of the story until like the last 100 pages. And I'm just like, where was all of this in the beginning? Like, where was all of this? I wanted all of that. Maybe if we had more maybe if we had a few, maybe we actually could have mixed in a couple chapters with like Rami or Victoire's perspective, especially Victoire's perspective regarding their involvement with the Hermes Society. Because they were pretty new when they got in, but at least they would have been interesting to know. To see Rami and Victoire's perspective, just to see like how they felt, you know, when they got into Hermes and stuff, and learning more about their operations. I think that would have been really cool, actually. Or maybe, because that would have been way different than Robin's, because the way how Robin felt like it, he was like, what in the world? Y'all doing anything? I think that would have been really cool, actually, if we could get at least a couple chapters. And Rami, maybe like one in Rami and then one in Victoire perspective regarding Hermes. I just think that would have been really cool. That's just me. But yeah, that was literally my number one qualm, honestly, is the underutilization of Victoire. But at least she has something in the last 100 pages, and she got an epilogue, and she does live and survive. Because, oh, y'all, I would have been so upset. I would have wanted to burn this book if Victoire died in the end. I was like, no. Because what you're not going to do is have the one character who was a black woman with such very low underutilization be treated like this and then die. No, yes, she should live. She should keep going. She should survive. Actually, hold up. Yes, found it. Okay, so this is in page 525. So we were really close to the end. So Victoire asks Robin, did you ever read that poem, The Abolitionist's Love? The one by Bicknell and Day? It's called The Dying Negro. And Victoire says this, that I truly appreciate, because it is very, very common whenever it comes to portrayal of black characters in any historical setting, that for them, they have to like die, or like their deaths have meaning. Like, this is what Victoire says. We have to die to get their pity, said Victoire. We have to die for them to find us noble. Our deaths are thus great acts of rebellion, a wretched lament that highlights their inhumanity. Our deaths become their battle cry. But I don't want to die, Robin. Her throat hitched. I don't want to die. I don't want to be their Inamonda, their Honorico. I don't want to be their tragic, lovely, like her figure. I want to live. And yes, I want her to live too. She shouldn't have to die. And I'm so grateful that she did not have Victoire die in the end. Like, thank you. There's just so much I really want to talk about, you know? There's just so much, like, I want to talk about so much, but it's also like I don't have necessarily the time to really talk about it. And also, I don't think I had enough words to really describe what I'm thinking here. Because there's just so much brilliance and just, there's just so much in this book that I really need so many people to read. But this book right here, this is not the kind of story that everyone might love. I know a lot of people have definitely loved it, but it's not necessarily a story for everyone, to be honest. For example, if you're looking for a high fantasy, it's not high fantasy. It's actually, the fantasy is actually kind of low. Like, the fantasy elements definitely have an impact into the world and stuff, but not as high fantasy as I would say with, like, the Poppy Word trilogy. Even though the Poppy Word trilogy, I want to say, yeah, it's pretty high fantasy, but, like, if you're thinking, like, Poppy Word trilogy high fantasy, it's not that high of fantasy, just to let y'all know on that one. It definitely falls more on historical fiction with speculative elements, and I think that's what this is. This is like an epic historical speculative fiction novel. Yeah, this is more in the lines of speculative fiction than it is fantasy. And if you do say fantasy, you have to keep in mind that it's a low fantasy. Just like for anyone who reads this. But it's definitely, I really think this is great for Dark Academia fans who truly want this kind of Dark Academia that truly makes you actually be in the academia world, you know, you're actually learning along with the characters and like the magic and how it works and just learning about etymology, language and linguistics and translation. Like you actually get that. You get the murder part. You get secret society. You get betrayal. You get death and violence. You get all of that. You get so many dark elements and critiques against colonialism, classism, racism, imperialism, sexism even. Like there's so much in here that I truly believe a lot of people will love, that clearly have, actually. But it's not the kind of story that I think I can truly recommend to everyone, because these dark elements in here are very dark. Like, there is so many content warnings, just like with the Poppy War trilogy. There are racial slurs, there's sexism, misogyny, emotional abuse, physical abuse, child abuse. Again, we have blatant racism, racial slurs, especially with the C word. That's in here. I'm trying to think. Y'all, there's suicide ideation, suicidal thoughts, suicide in general. Like, just anything with suicide in here. I think that's like the main ones for sure. But, there's brief messages of slavery in here. This book mentally, I want to say it didn't emotionally destroy me, because for some reason I just really did not cry. But this book mentally just threw me in the loop. It's just a fucking masterpiece. I just recommend this to everyone to read it. But anyways, thank you for watching this vlog, and please look in the link down below. I mean, not links. Actually, yeah, links down below for additional resources regarding like Madame Kwong's author website, and then also some other editions that I got with this book as well. Let's see, there's also some videos I'll link down below for any like just general thoughts about the book regarding some other booktubers I follow, and also an author interview as well, so that I highly recommend you to watch. And anyways, thank you again for following along with this vlog with me. This has been a very long project, and I will like to maybe do more reading vlogs like this. Hopefully it'll be a lot shorter, but, you know, we'll have to wait and see on that one. But anyways, yes, that will be all. Thank you again for coming to my channel, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.